Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have a major story I want to share with you guys today. We're going to be talking about that infamous day in January, and we're going to be talking about the PBs that were found, the devices that were found on that day, one at the RNC, one at the DNC. We're going to be talking about a woman named Karlin Younger and her connections to the intelligence community. Now, before we get into that, and please stay with me through the whole video because we're tying different threads together. It won't make sense unless you watch it all. So just to say that in advance, but some housekeeping. Just if you're new here, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the video, please remember to like the video, comment. All of that stuff helps with the algorithm. I'm always demonetized and like deboosted, so all of that stuff helps. Sharing the video helps. And also, if you would like to support the work, you can do that. You can super chat, you can leave a super thanks. You can go to my website, which is radixverum.com, and I've got my links to my crypto wallet. If you want to donate anonymously, you can do that there, or you can become a monthly supporter of the channel. You can become a member, and that helps support my work, and I would greatly appreciate that. We've got a new member the other day, so thank you for that. And I promise I'm going to do more with getting you guys better stickers and things like that. I've just been so busy. All right, so let's talk about Karlin Younger and who she is, what her connections are, and what she has to do with what happened on that infamous day in January and why the entire thing looks like a setup. So let's play a clip of Karlin. She is from Madison, Wisconsin. She glows like the sun, in my opinion. We're looking at a CIA operative who operates undercover. She acts in her professional capacity, but also works for the CIA. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. But so let's look at this clip where she was given a Person of the Week award. Also, just again, my camera is doing that flickering thing. I checked the cords prior to recording this. I'm sorry. I know it's annoying. Please, we're just going to have to deal with it. You know, I apologize in advance and I'm going to get it fixed. I don't know why it's been doing this. I guess I need to get a new cord, but I know it's annoying. All right, so let's play this clip real quick of Karlin explaining what happened that day.
Is a Wisconsin woman whose quick thinking led investigators to a pipe bomb in the nation's capital. Karlin Younger is from Madison and now works in D.C. She was doing her laundry on her lunch break when she saw a pipe bomb, a device with wires, piping, and a timer. There's a picture of it there, and it was right next to the Republican Party's headquarters.
Oh, she just found it. She just happened to be doing her laundry on her lunch break. Please.
You're on that edge of, I don't want to bother anybody, right? Like, I want to make sure this is real. You don't want to go down as the person who evacuates a city block for a hoax. But at the same time, there was just enough of that gut instinct that said, this isn't a place that you'd put a hoax.
So she used the word hoax twice there, which I find very interesting because a lot of times when somebody is, you know, lying about something, they know they're telling a lie about something, they'll often include a little bit of truth in their statement unknowingly. And when she refers to it as a hoax twice, it's almost like she's telling on herself in a way.
I have to have somebody check this out.
See something, say something. That would turn.
DHS catchphrase, see something, say something. And it's important when we find out, when we look more at her background and her connections to the intelligence community, but also a company called FirstNet.
Out that this would be the first of two bombs found on January 6th. The same day, rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol.
Okay, so now I want to talk about Karlin. This is a little meme here real quick, but I just want to read here. The first place Karlin Younger ran to when she found the PBs was the Capitol Hill Club, but no one was there. She then went to the RNC and found a security guard that took a look at the device. Ironically, Younger has a background with counterterrorism. Oh, would you look at that? After West High School, she graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, having studied international relations and Chinese. She taught English in China for a little bit. Yeah, this is the background of an intelligence officer. She went to China to teach English, quote unquote. You don't think she was a CIA asset? Please. It's very hard for them to get people in China And if there are Americans there, yeah, they're going to try to turn them because somebody, namely Hillary Clinton, exposed a list of their assets in China and got a bunch of people killed. So they had an intelligence block there. So yeah, clearly this is somebody who glows like the sun. Julie Kelly says, "What if I told you the woman who found the PB outside the RNC worked for a quasi-government firm that received a $92 million grant from the FBI a few weeks before January 6th, would you believe her story is legit?" That company is FirstNet. Now, FirstNet is important, and it reminded me of Carbyne 911, and I want to touch on what they both do. So, FirstNet, this is important. FirstNet is what? A first responder network authority. Build, operate, and maintain the first high-speed, nationwide wireless broadband network dedicated to public safety. Why? Built from recommendations by the 9/11 Commission, ding ding, and the history of public safety communications challenges to help keep our communities and emergency responders safer. Okay, so what did that remind me of? Well, it reminded me of Jeffrey, you know who, and a company called Carbine 911, who was, basically doing the same thing that Jeffrey had himself funded. And they're like an emergency triaging system, or they want to be. They want to be the gatekeepers between victims and emergency responders. So here's Carbyne. It says, "Creating a Better Now." Carbyne is a national real-time emergency communication platform leading the most advanced public safety technology for emergency infrastructure. Here's another. This just shows you what the internal Carbyne app looks like. And so you can see it's like a platform where you can bring in video and lots of other things. You can see it here. They've got the phone app, start a report. You've got city service, medical, fire, police. And then we've got, well, where does Carbyne come from? It comes from a company called Reporty Homeland Security that has ties to a foreign intelligence. That has ties to foreign intelligence. This is the former board of directors of Carbyne 911. You'll notice the former prime minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, also a close associate of Epstein, and Nicole Junkerman as well. The original Carbyne 911 board with Junkerman and her Israeli Unit 8200 co-founders. So that's the other thing. The link between Junkerman, the Israeli State Intelligence Services, and IDF is not a tenuous one. This is from an article by Johnny Vedmore on Carbyne 911 and Nicole Junkerman and her association to Jeffrey. It was the ominously named Reporty Homeland Security was the first incarnation of what has now been rebranded as Carbyne 911, and it is referred to simply as Carbyne. Described as a, quote, global leader in public safety tech, Carbyne is a call handling platform app that allows you to, among other things, stream any ongoing emergency directly to the responding emergency services. It claims in the information section of a promotional video on YouTube entitled "Nicole Junkerman Presents Carbyne" that it will, quote, provide a plug-and-play solution that allows 911 callers to connect their smartphone features to the emergency operator so that the operator can make a better assessment of the emergency location. Data, audio, camera, and video access can be shared, providing the operator with greater detail on the situation. The use of Carbyne solution will allow emergency management teams to better triage their cases and improve the utilization of downstream emergency services. They promise to combine the use of personal data, location data, live video, data from surrounding wearable tech, even information from parked smart cars to deliver more information to emergency services that would be responding. They can pinpoint your location even indoors to within 3 feet, and they claim they can even collect data from dropped calls. However, they fail to mention how they'll get permission to use such masses of available data. Who are these angels behind this revolutionary technology, which aims to get between a victim and emergency services? That is super important because, again, if you look at the people behind Carbyne, they were close associates with Jeffrey Epstein. Ehud Barak, photograph coming out of Epstein's New York apartment. Come on, guys. And Jeffrey, why would Jeffrey be investing in that? Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe so he can, maybe if there's a victim who's escaping a certain island or trying to escape a compound and tries to call for help, saying, hey, this trafficking network has been holding me against my will and forcing me to do things. Well, it'd be really great if those people who were doing that could prevent that call to 911 from going through, wouldn't it? If they were acting as the gatekeeper. So, yeah, they would love to be able to prevent their victims from calling for help. So, now we're going to get into Karlin Younger. And again, please stick with me through this video. It's going to be a long one. I'm going to try to breeze through this as best as possible, but these deep dives are important because people need to know this information. You haven't heard her name associated with that infamous day in January. We all heard about the pipe bombs at the DNC, the RNC. This was a big deal, and we need to know who these people are that allegedly found them, because this really makes it seem like what happened that day was a setup. This is how you would do it if you were creating a setup like this. This a hoax, as Karlin Younger said, right? Okay, so Pendulum, where she works now, is an information forensics company that classifies non-textual, publicly available content to identify the source, message, audience, and evolution of quote-unquote harmful narratives. Now, they've got less than 50 employees there, but every single person that works here essentially worked for the intelligence community in one way or another, and you can see Karlin Younger down here as a principal product manager. Now, moving on to her page, Karlin Younger has a diverse and extensive work experience. From June 2023, Carlin has been working as a principal product manager at Pendulum. Pendulum seems to be a CIA cutout. In November of 2022, Carlin took on the role of co-chair of the product committee at OIX Association, a position they still hold. So she's the co-chair of product committee at OIX. From December 2022 to June 2023, Carlin worked as the director of intelligence and analysis at Searist. Prior to that, from October 2021 to October 2022, Carlin served as the co-founder and CEO of Fireflight. Look up that. Carlin has also worked with the First Responder Network Authority, FirstNet, in various roles. Remember, FirstNet is just like a Carbine 911. They were lead investment from April 2020 to October 2021. From August 2018 to April 2020, Carlin worked as the strategic projects lead in the External Affairs Division. This is at FirstNet. From October 2016 to 2018, they were the state lead plans, lead analysis at the Public Safety Advocacy Division. So this was at FirstNet. And remember, FirstNet, in the weeks leading up to that infamous day in January, granted FirstNet, while Carlin was working with them, a $92 million contract. Isn't that amazing? And then she so happens to find the device at the RNC. In 2021, Carlin participated in the National Security Innovation Network's Defense Innovation Accelerator Program as a Defense Innovation Accelerator entrepreneur from May to September. From July 2015 to September 2016, Carlin worked as an associate at Lafayette Group. From October 2014 to July 2015, they served as a program and policy analyst and acting state point of contact with the Wisconsin Department of Justice, so worked for the Wisconsin DOJ. From January 2010 to October 2013, Carlin worked at Control Risks as a consultant in global risk analysis as an associate and analyst. Karlin Younger completed Bachelor of Arts degree in International/Global Studies at University of Wisconsin-Madison from 2002 to 2006. She later pursued a Master of Philosophy degree in Comparative Government. Yeah, at Oxford. So was she a Rhodes Scholar. In addition to their formal education, Carlin obtained certifications in mentoring from Mentor Loop in August 2022, so after it found the device, and in Foundations of Humane Technology from the Center of Humane Technology in June 2022. So that's literally the resume of a glowy. That is, guys, this is the Beltway, okay? This is why nobody having a trial in DC is getting a fair trial, because these are the people who are going to be sitting on your juries. I'm telling you, they all work for the government in some capacity, or they work for a government that has a company that has contracts with the government or whatever. They basically, or they glow. They do both. They're in the private sector, but they're also assets for intelligence companies. And they often recruit people in the tech sector, in media, in things like this. So yeah, I believe she works for the CIA. I think that's obvious. All right, now I want to get to this thread. This is by Jacktron on Twitter, at Jacktron Prime. You can find him on Twitter. He did a thread with the LinkedIn profile of Karlin Younger, the person who found the PB behind the trash can near the RNC building on the infamous day in January. Darren Beattie mentioned in his interview with Tucker she currently works at a company called Pendulum. She is the project manager at Pendulum, and her job is, quote, building out the Pendulum platform to empower narrative-based intelligence. She also previously worked for the Wisconsin DOJ, where she worked as a program and policy analyst. So this is her LinkedIn profile, which again glows like the sun. This is how you know somebody is an intel analyst or asset. She clearly works for the intelligence community. According to their website, Pendulum states narratives contain threats and opportunities and works to control them. Pendulum says their solution is to collect, process, and store multi-medium content, even if it is deleted, that uses what they call their narrative engine to filter said content based on the narrative you want to amplify and track. So check this out. They're upset about not being able to control the narrative anymore, because now there's YouTube channels, there's independent journalists like me. People come to us to get the truth now because they know that you guys lie to them and just try to control the narrative. And so this is what they've created. They want to be able to track what we're doing across all platforms and in real time so they can counter narratives they don't like. The problem: narratives impact every part of a business. They compel communities to take action online and in person, generating opportunities and risks for strategy, personnel, and assets. However, community engagement in narratives is a fast-moving, dynamic, and happening and difficult to analyze mediums. So here's where they describe the issue. Today, content creators, they mean independent journalists, prefer video and audio over text because these platforms are better at engaging audiences. Also, content creators now use multiple platforms to push different types of content, avoid moderation. Why do you care about moderating these platforms? And engage with their audience in different ways. So, simultaneous access to multiple video and audio platforms such as YouTube, BitChute, and podcasts, and the ability to analyze content across them are now required to be able to effectively track and analyze community engagement with narratives. Also, each platform is designed to empower its tens of millions of users to easily build communities, distribute content, drive narratives. This means narratives that affect your community or company are spreading in many directions at once, and the threats and opportunities from them can be anywhere at any time. Easily track and analyze your Pendulum intelligence, going from top-level summaries to individual pieces of content to quickly spot trends and potential drivers of risk. Monitor 24 hours a day. So they created lists of people like content creators, YouTube content creators that cover geopolitics, things like that. And they've put together a list of 7,500 of what they call political YouTube channels. This channel's probably on that list, and they monitor them in real time, they say. Pendulum says it uses AI to help intelligence teams increase their influence and monitor narratives that may be threatening not only to brands and executives, but also specifically list ESG as a topic to monitor. Here is an example of their tracking software with using the writer's strike to enforce the narrative of wage exploitation. So they want to enforce narratives, single pane of glass for horizon scaling, strategic intelligence, measure impact, automated threat discovery and monitoring. This sounds exactly like what Jason Chambers was doing with Exa Intel. Pendulum's evergreen AI threat models help intelligence teams force multiply and increase their influence. Force multiply, increase influence. Some of the narratives Pendulum monitors includes that issue from the pandemic, hesitancy about it, misinformation, election fraud, domestic extremism, and that topic. So exactly what you would expect from glowies and spooks. Now, getting into the board members, I don't want to go to all of them. This is a very long list, and when I mean long, I mean long. I considered going through all of these, but that would make this literally an hour-long video. So instead, I recommend you look up Jacktron Prime here and find this thread. Basically, every single person that works at Pendulum, literally, it worked for the intelligence community, one agency or another. One literally worked for the CIA. So, of course, Karlin Younger being there, of course, she works for an agency as well. Every single person there does. Now, moving along, this is a thread by Thomas Massey. You can find that. He just posted this today. He interviewed Dan Tuono, yes, that Dan Tuono from the Whitmer case, about Karlin Younger is mentioned here. So he brings up the pipe bomb from the day of infamy. If you're just becoming familiar with the rapidly collapsing narrative of the Jan 6 pipe bombs, I suggest reading Darren Beatty's comprehensive and insightful coverage of this topic. The purpose of this thread is to post the original transcript. So he should have asked much more about the Whitmer thing. And he got this wrong. He was not at the DC office from 2019. He started in 2019. He became the SAC of the Detroit field office. He was promoted 1 week after the Whitmer guys were arrested. They were arrested October 7 of 2020. He was promoted by Ray from the SAC of the Detroit field office in Michigan to be the assistant director in charge of the DC field office. That was October 13th of 2020. So this is incorrect, but that's okay. Massey just did a typo, but you can read it in here. I mean, he even explains it himself. Now, I recommend reading through these transcripts. You can get this at Representative Massey. You can go to his account. He posted this today. He may have even pinned this. So I suggest you read through the transcripts, though, because it is illuminating. There's so many times Dan Tuono says, I don't know, I can't recall. I mean, after claiming that he, through all the resources they had at this investigation, he can't answer basic things about the devices, if they could function, etc. He was asked about people like Karlin Younger and the people who found the devices and if they've been ruled out. And wait till you find out who found the second device. Yeah, 3 years into the investigation with 0 arrests, a dozen unacknowledged facts, and several impossible coincidences, when the FBI says it's our policy not to comment on ongoing investigations. What I hear is it's our policy not to comment on ongoing cover-ups. That's absolutely true. Blaze Media put this out. Steve Baker, friend of ours, another independent journalist, he now is with the Blaze, revealed a plainclothes Capitol police officer found the DNC device. Video surveillance shows Secret Service and DC Metro Police finished their lunches before acting on the discovery of the, quote, viable device by a person previously identified as a passerby. Well, it wasn't a passerby. It was literally a plainclothes Capitol Police officer, and he found the device within 5 minutes of Karlin Younger finding the device at the RNC. Come on, guys. Like, no one believes that this was just an accident. Oh, we just called this person a passerby. Why did they lie about it? Come on. We all know why. All right, so continuing on. I have 2 questions. Was Karlin Younger a Rhodes Scholar? I see she studied at Oxford. Is Pendulum a CIA front company? I feel like it was mentioned by Whitney Webb in her book, One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 2. That is a book I've been meaning to read, and I need to. Jade Parker is another person to look into. Jade was a counter-terror expert, former military intelligence contractor who claimed to have identified the J6 pipe bomber and their network. She said there was a network associated with them. She thought it was tied to the 09A. She later vanished, like she literally disappeared. So we don't know what happened to her, but she could have stumbled across, an active cover-up. Now, here's something interesting too. Julie Kelly says, I once again applaud my friend Darren Beatty for more outstanding work. That's the guy from Revolver News on exposing this hoax that is the J6 pipe bomber. No one has done more important work, and today's report is a game changer. Ed Martin says, here's Karlin Younger in 2011 talking to NBC about what happens when people protest, riot, and occupy. So all the way back in 2011, here she is mentioned here as Karlin Younger. They're talking about anti-capitalism protests and rallies. But as Karlin Younger of Consultancy Control Risk said, quote, when there's a protest by an organization that's very grassroots, you can't be sure who will show up, unquote. Concrete demands are few other than a general sense that the rich, and especially banks, should shoulder more of the tax burden and that elected governments aren't listening. Yeah, so this was an article. She's quoted in this article, and it is an article from NBC. Protesters plan to occupy London, Rome, Auckland for an October revolution, dress warm. October Revolution. Interesting. And there she is quoted in that. We've got Investigate J6 here saying Karlin Younger, the woman who found the PB on J6, works in the NSA community, works for DOJ, received a $90 million grant from the FBI a month before finding the device. Yeah, emerging leader. She's an emerging leader. Right. Unreal. Here's a little timeline breakdown. 12:40 p.m., Karlin Younger discovers the RNC pipe bomb. 12:50 p.m., Capitol Police begin responding to it. 12:53 p.m., Ray Epps' breach of West Perimeter occurs. 1 p.m., certification process begins in Congress. 1:05 p.m., plainclothes Capitol Police officer discovers DNC pipe bomb. 1:10 p.m., Trump done speaking. Amazing timing. Yeah, isn't that wild? How that happened. Now going back to Carbyne, 911 call handling tech company Carbyne raises $56 million. That was just September 2022. Series C funding round comes amid other recent sizable investments in the emergency dispatch and public safety tech space. Carbyne has raised $128 million so far and has reported a big U.S. revenue jump. Gee, I wonder why. New York based, that's rich. You mean is Israeli Unit 8200 based call handling platform Carbyne has raised $56 million funding round, the latest big investment, emergency dispatch and public safety services. Now, moving along to this from Whitney Webb, how this group that glows like the sun and the Mossad are exploiting tragedies to create an Orwellian nightmare. Yes, she's absolutely right. And so she writes here that Epstein had been funding, had given substantial funding to Carbyne 911, and that his close associate, former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, was funding it and on the board of directors, and Silicon Valley venture capitalist Peter Thiel as well. Carbyne 911, or simply Carbyne, develops call handling and ID capabilities for emergency response services in countries around the world, including the U.S., where it has already been implemented in several U.S. countries and is partnered with major U.S. tech companies like Google. It specifically markets this product as a way of mitigating mass events in the United States without having to change existing laws. Yet Carbyne is no ordinary tech company, as it is deeply connected to the elite Israeli military intelligence division Unit 8200, whose alumni often go on to create tech companies, Carbyne among them, that frequently maintain their ties to intelligence. According to Israeli media reports and former employees, they often blur the line between their service to Israel's defense and intel apparatus and commercial activity. As this report will reveal, Carbyne is but one of several Israeli tech companies marketing themselves as a tech solution to mass events that has direct ties to intelligence agencies, again, of foreign countries. In each case, these companies' products are built in such a way they can easily be used to illegally surveil the government's institutions and civilians that use them. A troubling fact given Unit 8200's documented prowess in surveillance as a means of obtaining blackmail. Yeah, and Israel's history of using tech companies to aggressively spy on the U.S. This is further compounded by the fact that Unit 8200 linked tech companies have previously received U.S. government contracts to place backdoors into the entire U.S. telecommunications system, as well as into the popular products of major American tech companies, including Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, many of whose key managers and executives are now former Unit 8200 officers. Amazing, isn't it? Another funder of Carbyne, Peter Thiel, has his own company that, like Carbyne, is profiting from proposed high-tech solutions to these incidences. Yeah, his company is called Palantir, of course. So moving on, former CIA director and Peter Thiel get in on Carbyne's cloud-based upgrade to 911 response. Passing triple-digit valuation, Israeli startup Carbyne aims to disrupt traditional 911 service with app-free emergency video chat. Please hurry, we need help. I'm sending help right away. Just absolutely insane what's going on here. Moving on, Carbyne partners with AT&T on next generation 911 tools. Well, remember what we showed you with FirstNet. FirstNet also is works with AT&T. They were built with AT&T. I don't know if I had that in here, but it is absolutely true. So I thought that connection with AT&T and these first responding apps was disturbing. Moving on, Israeli Next Gen 911 service. Carbyne is approved by the Tel Aviv municipality. Carbyne tech allows citizens to conduct video calls with police services without the need to download additional apps. I mean, my God, this is the guy who worked for Unit 8200, Israeli intelligence. And, you know, it's just amazing to me that this is happening. And nobody says anything. And we have what we read from earlier about how they used to be reportee Homeland Security. This just goes into some of the individuals there that were on the Carbine website. Let's see. You got Ehud Barak, Pinchas Burkus, former head of Israel's Ministry of Defense. Amir Elichai remains prominent on Carbine's current board of directors, you know, former Israeli intelligence. Alex Dizganov originally worked developing cybersecurity software for the Israeli PM. Yeah, these people, man, and their connections. So going back to Karlin Younger, who apparently has in her background counterterrorism experience and went to China, and all of this, just happened to find this device. Her connection to FirstNet, how she was working there, and in the weeks before the infamous day in January, the FBI gives them an almost $100 million contract, how they're very similar to Carbyne and what they purport to do. It's all very concerning, isn't it? So we're going to cut it here. I would just encourage people to look more into Karlin Younger and start asking these questions about, you know, how this thing was very clearly a setup. Both of these devices, I mean, a plainclothes Capitol Police officer finds the DNC one, and then this Karlin Younger finds the RNC one. And look at their background. I mean, I'm interested to know what you guys think of this story. If you've heard her name before, if you've done any background to her, if you guys find anything about her that I haven't included in this video, please let me know, and I will update it. That's all I have for now, for this story at least. So I hope everybody has a good day. Just a reminder again before I sign off to subscribe if you haven't, like the video, comment, and support the work, support the channel. You can make sure you bookmark my website, radixferrum.com. It's still under construction now, but like I've got all of my links there. So I used to have a, what is it, like Linktree that I got banned. Then they gave me, I had like a Liberty Links thing, but now that's gone. So just use my personal website. You can find everything there. And that's it for now. Have a good day, everybody. Whee!